Let it guide you, and you will see." Cerise nodded, as if processing the words, but she had heard them 1,000 times before. Her earliest memories involved toddling through this very courtyard and admiring the teenage seers as they honed their skills. They had made it look so easy. "Kneel on the ground there," the Reverend Mother said, pointing straight ahead of her at a stone paver located an arm's length from the bench, and the serpent resting beneath it. "Take the kit with you." The edges of the stone pavers were sharp against Cerise's knees when she took her place, but she barely noticed the discomfort. She was too distracted by the serpent on the ground in front of her, now awake and flicking its forked tongue into the air. The kit seemed to sense danger. Cerise felt its tiny heart beating faster than angel fly wings. "Now then." The Reverend Mother reached behind her and produced a small wire cage, which she placed on the ground directly in front of Cerise. Approximately 2 hand-widths wide and deep, the cage was open at the top. Along the front wall were 6 evenly spaced holes, large enough to let the viper inside, but too small to allow the rabbit to escape. The holes were facing the serpent, creating a short, straight path from its resting place to the 6 entrances. "Place the kit inside the cage." Cerise did as she was told. "The serpent will enter the cage," the Reverend Mother said, "through one of the 6 front holes. It will not enter from the top. I know this because it is a simple creature, and I can see which path it will choose. Close your eyes. Clear your mind, and you will see it too. Once you know the correct entrance, point to it, and I will spare your kit." The Reverend Mother didn't speak the alternative, but it hung thicker than pollen in the air. Before Cerise could prepare herself, the snake uncoiled into a slow, predatory crawl that revealed the pattern of red, interlocking circles on its back. A lowland flamewinder. If there was a more excruciating way to die, she couldn't think of one. She clenched her eyes shut and focused on the warmth within her chest, holding tightly to the glow before it gave way to prickles of anxiety. Which path will the serpent choose? She asked herself. There was only darkness behind her eyelids. She tried again to coax the answer from her mind's eye. Which path? Nothing. Not even a flicker of divination passed through her. She had just exhaled to steady her nerves when something happened that curdled her blood. The kit began to scream. Cerise opened her eyes in horror. She had never heard a rabbit scream. She hadn't even known it was possible. It was an eerie sound, so charged with human emotion that she could easily mistake it for the cry of a child. The kit shrieked louder as it watched the snake approach. Then, in hysterical panic, it hopped repeatedly against the wire walls, hurtling its tiny body into the barriers with an audible thud, thud, thud. "Draw from your compassion," the Reverend Mother said. Cerise refocused, drawing on not only her compassion, but every single emotion within her, until she feared she might burst from the strain. Sweat slicked her body, making her shiver. She cleared her mind and opened her heart. When that didn't work, she silently pleaded to the goddess for an answer. Which path will it choose? No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't see the snake in her mind's eye. The kit sent up a series of screams, death cries, as the serpent poked its head through the 3rd lowest hole and drew back to strike. Cerise plunged her hand into the cage at the exact moment the snake lunged forward. A pair of needle-sharp fangs sank into her forearm, and then came a pain so acute there wasn't a name for it. She screamed from the pits of her lungs without a care for her reputation as a lady of the temple. Let the goddess Shira take her. Death would be a mercy.